Ever wonder why you get inexplicitly bitchy one time every month? Or why you suddenly cry at dog and cat videos where maybe you never did before? Or maybe you suddenly feel like chocolate is basically a food group? Well, your hormones are to blame, guys. Welcome back to The Upgrade Effect, the podcast for health nuts who simply want the science. I'm your host, Samantha, and this is season 2, Back to Biology class, where we break down the science of your body so you can understand it for yourself and stop falling for every shiny new health fad promising to fix your hormones overnight. But before we talk about hormones, we are going to do a quick recap of what we have learned in the season so far. So episode 1, we talked about cells, the very building blocks of life. Your body is basically a Lego set, and cells are the individual bricks that make everything else possible. DNA is the episode 2, where we discuss that it is the instruction manual for your body. DNA tells cells when to grow, repair themselves, and even how to respond to the environment, and are housed in the nucleus of every single one of your trillions of cells in your body. And then episode 3, we went into digestion, which is how your body breaks down food into nutrients and energy. Think of it as turning your plate into actual fuel that your body can use. And now we are brought to episode 4 on hormones, where we're going to explore these tiny chemical messengers that literally run the entire show that we call your life. They affect your energy, your mood, your sleep, your stress levels, your hunger, your metabolism, and even your motivation and your relationships. If you understand them, you won't fall for detox teas, hormone reset pills, or any of those viral Instagram hacks. Okay? So pay attention, and here's a sneak peek of the main hormones that we will cover today. So there's quite a few hormones that exist in your body, but for the sake of time, we're just going to discuss the main ones, which are insulin, cortisol, adrenaline, thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, estrogen and progesterone, and testosterone. You guys have probably heard of all of these or most of these before, but first, let us discuss what are hormones. So if you've ever wondered why your mood, cravings, or energy levels go up and down all the time, it's your hormones. And learning how they work helps you avoid falling for fake health fixes. Hormones are chemical messengers, tiny molecules traveling through your blood, sending instructions from one part of your body to another. Think of your body as a school. Okay, so for the sake of this episode, we are going to compare our body to a school. Your cells are the students. Organs are the classrooms, and hormones are the notes or text messages that tell everyone what to do and when. Hormones are made in your glands, which are small organs that act like mini chemical factories. So a gland is an organ that releases some type of substance, whether it be sweat, enzymes, milk from a mother's breast when they are breastfeeding. Whatever it is, a gland is an organ in your body that releases something. Okay, so my finger doesn't release anything, so it's not a gland. So all of the glands in your body include, first and foremost, the pituitary gland. This is often called the master gland. It is located in the southernmost region of your brain, and it sends orders to other glands to release their hormones. It is like the principal of the school. Then there is your thyroid gland that controls your metabolism, which is basically how fast or slow your body converts food into energy. And then there are your adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys and help your body respond to stress. Then there's your pancreas, which regulates your blood sugar by releasing insulin. And then there are your ovaries and your testes that produce sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Hormones travel through your bloodstream, which is like your body's postal system. If the messages are clear and on time, your body will run smoothly. If messages are delayed or, God forbid, blocked, you can experience fatigue, mood swings, cravings, or a range of other issues. Okay, so hormones are like the group chat in your body. Clear messages equals smooth day. Messages lost or misunderstood will equal chaos pretty much every time. So, fun fact, there are over 50 hormones in your body that are sending constant messages within your body at any given moment. But as noted before, for the sake of time, we're just going to cover the main ones, okay? So, in 1902, a man named Ernest Starling and William Bayliss discovered a hormone called secretin, the very first hormone, which instructed the pancreas to release digestive juices. This was the start of modern endocrinology, which is the study of hormones. Okay, so we're going to first go into insulin, okay, as the first hormone we will cover. We've probably all heard of insulin before. Insulin is the key to your cell's doors. Without it, sugar will just float in your body like an unwanted guest. Okay, so it's made by your pancreas. It helps glucose, or otherwise known as sugar. Glucose is like the fancy word for sugar. It helps glucose enter your cells so it can be used for energy. Insulin is like the custodian unlocking the classroom doors so sugar can fuel the party inside of your cells. If insulin isn't working properly, your sugar will just stay in your bloodstream and not enter your cells. That's called diabetes. And there's two forms of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes where your pancreas can't make insulin at all. So imagine the custodian is on permanent vacation. Glucose cannot get into your cells without insulin, so people need to inject insulin inside of them in order to survive. And then there's type 2 diabetes, where your pancreas can make insulin, but your cells don't respond to it properly. The keys aren't working. So this can often be improved, like most things, with simple lifestyle changes like nutrition, regular exercise, and just simple weight management. So nutrition tip number 1, pair carbohydrates with protein and healthy fats. Why? Because protein and fats slow digestion, which prevents blood sugar spikes and keeps your insulin levels a lot more stable throughout your day. So for example, instead of just eating plain oatmeal, add nuts or eat eggs on the side or something, pair it with something. I used to just eat plain fruit for breakfast, and it's not the worst thing at all. Like, it's so much better than obviously eating sugar cereals or like an intense bacon and egg sort of toast thing. But if as soon as I started eating fruit and pairing it with the protein, like a couple medium boiled eggs or high protein Greek yogurt with some berries, I noticed such a difference in my energy and how much more stable it was throughout the day. When I just would eat the fruit on its own, I would notice a bit more of a crash later on in the day where I absolutely needed that like afternoon coffee where, you're just kind of feeling a little tired at work. As soon as I started adding protein into my breakfast, I'm telling you guys, I didn't need that coffee. So another nutrition tip is just eat lots of fiber. Fiber will slow down sugar absorption, which again reduces your insulin surges and keeps you from crashing. And then there's nutrition tip number 3, avoid excessive sugary drinks and processed snacks that are loaded with sugar. These cause super rapid blood sugar spikes that forces your pancreas to overwork and increases your insulin resistance over time. Okay, and this is what makes people gain weight really quick. People that eat a lot of sugar, it's not just because sugar, has a lot of calories. It's because of what's going on with the insulin in your body as well. Okay, so fun fact, before insulin was discovered, which by the way, if you didn't know, insulin was actually discovered in Toronto, Ontario for my Canadian listeners. Before insulin was discovered, type 1 diabetes was usually considered fatal. So high sugar diets and lack of fiber are what is the main thing that is linked to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. This is why a lot of children will get diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. If you're giving your kids sugar cereals for breakfast all the time and letting them drink pop, and honestly, some of these school lunches I see, especially in kindergarten, when sometimes I supply teach in kindergarten, I'm just like, oh my God, no wonder some of these kids act nuts. So your next hormone is called cortisol. This is your body's fire alarm. It's great for emergencies, but it's useless if it's always ringing. So this is made by your adrenal glands. It prepares the body for fight or flight mode. It releases stored energy, increases your alertness, and helps you handle emergencies. Chronic stress keeps your cortisol levels very high, which can lead to belly fat accumulation, poor sleep, low immunity, and mood swings. So chronic stress keeps your cortisol levels very high. If you're always stressed, that means your body always needs cortisol, but eventually if you're stressed so often, cortisol doesn't really do its job well anymore. So chronic stress keeps your cortisol high, which can lead to belly fat accumulation, poor sleep, low immunity, and mood swings. So the best way to help manage your stress, guys, and therefore your cortisol, is to sleep for 7 to 9 hours a night. That's right, 9 hours will make an immaculate difference. And in fact, if you want to reap the very best full benefits of sleep, You actually do want a 9-hour sleep every single night. Okay, so deep breathing or meditation, prayer, all of this slows your heart rate and signals to your nervous system that you are safe, which reduces your cortisol release. A walk in nature, even just 20 minutes outside, can majorly lower your cortisol and majorly improve your mood. The next hormone is called adrenaline. Adrenaline is your body's superhero power. It's temporary. It's not something you fix with a trendy supplement. It is made by your adrenal glands, and its job is to provide quick bursts of energy and heightened awareness in emergencies. So, this is like your rocket fuel for short term survival. And it matters because adrenaline increases your heart rate, it dilates your airways, and it releases glucose for immediate energy. But constant adrenaline can make you jittery or anxious. So, fun fact, roller coasters, suspenseful movies, ice baths, all of those trigger adrenaline bursts without real danger. Okay? The next hormone is your thyroid hormone and hormones, and there's two of them. One's called T3 and the other one is called T4. Your thyroid is like a thermostat. If it gets too high and you become hot and restless, and if it is too low, you become sluggish and tired. They are made in, of course, your thyroid gland, and they control your metabolism, which is the speed at which your body converts your food into energy. So some nutrition tips to take very good care of your thyroid glands are eating iodine, which you can find iodine. The best sources are in seaweed, high quality dairy, and iodized salt. So high quality salts like Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt, which is what I use, or the highest quality salt you could possibly put in your body with over 90 trace minerals is called Baja Gold salt, not table salt. Okay, stay away from table salt. And another nutrition tip for caring for your thyroid gland is selenium and zinc. So a high source of selenium and zinc are going to be Brazil nuts, fish, pumpkin seeds. All of these help activate thyroid hormones in your body. And why does this matter? Because low thyroid hormones causes fatigue, weight gain, and depression. High thyroid hormones cause anxiety, rapid heartbeat, and weight loss. So if you want to keep it all balanced and in the perfect mid-range, you want to make sure you are eating much of those sources of foods that I've just mentioned. The next hormone is called estrogen and progesterone. So you need to understand your estrogen and progesterone before buying every monthly hormone hack. Okay? Once a month, you think it's coming. You know what's coming, ladies. You don't need to buy anything. Okay? Pay attention. Your estrogen and progesterone are made in your ovaries. Small amounts are made in a male's testes. They regulate reproduction, mood, and bone health. Estrogen equals the drama teacher of the school. Progesterone equals the calm stage manager. Why does this matter? Because estrogen supports your bone density, your skin, your hair, your mood. Progesterone balances your estrogen and prepares the uterus for pregnancy. Fluctuations in this are what causes us to PMS once a month and have mood swings at all times of the day. Okay, some nutrition tips to care for your estrogen and your progesterone are eating lots of omega-3 fatty acids. My favorite sources are salmon, chia seeds, and walnuts. These all help reduce inflammation and support your hormone signaling. And then you want to balance your meals, as noted before, with protein and fiber. Instead of just eating single food groups, we need the whole range. We need the fiber, we need the carbohydrates, we need the good fats, we need the good protein. Okay, so estrogen fluctuations are always linked to PMS and migraines. Okay, now we are at testosterone. This is your body's gym coach. It motivates your muscles, your energy, and your confidence. These are made by a male's testes, a female's ovaries, and your adrenal glands. They support muscle strength, bone density, energy, sex drive, and overall motivation. This matters because testosterone helps maintain your lean muscle, strong bones, stable mood, and high energy levels. Low testosterone can make you feel fatigued, unmotivated, and physically weaker. Females do have testosterone. It's produced by their ovaries, their adrenal glands, and other tissues, and is absolutely essential for various physiological functions, including libido, bone health, production of other reproductive hormones, etc., as I just noted before. But yes, females do have testosterone. Wild. It's not just for the males. Okay, so the best ways to support your testosterone are strength training or resistance exercise. So lifting weights or doing push-ups and squats sends signals from your muscles to your body, and it tells it to produce more testosterone. Muscle fibers release proteins and growth signals that encourage your body to maintain or increase testosterone production. You also want to, again, sleep for 7 to 9 hours per night. Most testosterone is actually produced during sleep time. So without adequate sleep, your body actually doesn't have enough time to produce and release this hormone properly. And you also want to eat zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, oysters, my favorite source of zinc, beef, chickpeas are really high in zinc, which is an essential building block for testosterone production. Without zinc, your body will struggle, very much struggle, to make enough of this hormone naturally. So everybody produces testosterone. Women have lower levels, but it's equally important for energy, mood, and muscle maintenance. So now that we've covered the main hormones, the ones that we've probably all heard of in our day-to-day, there are a few other hormones I'd like to quickly touch base on. But as mentioned before, hormones control almost everything from your mood to your sleep to your appetite to how happy you feel. And understanding this helps you stop falling for detoxes and supplements that promise instant fixes. In fact, anything that promises an instant fix is a load of marketing BS. Okay, so the other hormones that are notable mentions are the ones that are involved with your mood and happiness. And the main hormone involved with your mood and happiness is dopamine. Dopamine motivates you to achieve your goals. Serotonin keeps you calm. Endorphins create exercise highs, and oxytocin strengthens social bonds and trust. Okay? Sleep. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. So you want to dim your lights an hour before bed because too much light will suppress your melatonin production. And melatonin is like your body's nighttime signal. So your brain's pineal gland releases it when it gets dark, telling your body, hey, it's time to get ready for bed. But actually falling asleep depends on, feeling tired physically and your body's temperature actually dropping and some other things. But melatonin is still very much needed. That hormone is very much needed in order to get you into that mood to want to sleep, to the right headspace to sleep, if you will. And then there's ghrelin, which is a peptide hormone, often called the hunger hormone, that is primarily produced by the stomach and signals the brain to stimulate appetite and initiate feeding. A lack of sleep or high stress will actually disrupt these hormones, which causes some overeating or even cravings. So this is why it's actually very important to turn off your phone. Even I pray before I eat, and it just always puts me in that perfect calm space for my body to begin to digest food. And we actually covered this in the last episode on digestion, but stress will 100% impact your body's ability to digest food optimally. So calming down before you eat, not being super high strung before you eat and being super stressed out, and just getting rid of your phone and all notifications. I have a no phone at table rule. And it makes a world of difference, I am telling you, in the way I feel after. And again, you might not notice it at first, but when you make this regular parts of your daily health practices, you do start to notice how different things feel when you start to, once again, eat when you're stressed versus, I've been eating not stressed and calming down before every meal. And I've been feeling great. And then you have a stressful day and you kind of go back to eating when you feel stressed and you notice that difference. So by understanding which hormones affect these processes, you can start to support them naturally by getting enough sleep to regulate ghrelin and leptin, or exercising to release your endorphins, and spend time with friends to boost your oxytocin. So here's some other fun facts. Bananas will increase dopamine slightly, which can make you feel more motivated. Bees have hormones that control the behavior of the hive. Your body is a lot like a tiny hive of hormones. Teenagers are walking hormone factories, which explains mood swings, growth spurts, and hunger. And then falling in love actually triggers dopamine and oxytocin fireworks in your brain. That feeling that you get when you know you're falling in love. If any of you have, experienced that before, which many of you probably have, what you're feeling is a mix of dopamine and oxytocin in that feeling. It's quite astounding. Okay? And that's the bell, guys. Hormones are tiny, but they run almost everything. Your energy, your mood, your stress levels, sleep, hunger, even motivation. Treat them well with enough sleep, balanced nutrition, movement, and meaningful social connection. Ignore the gimmicks promising instant hormone fixes. Real results come from understanding your body. Thank you for tuning into The Upgrade Effect. Share this episode with someone who blames everything on just hormones. Next week, we'll explore neurotransmitters, which are your brain's chemical messengers that control thought, mood, and behavior. Class dismissed.